Do you like chaos? Do you like peace? Do you like to have things? I think we have to start asking ourselves these questions again, because these dynamics that we find ourselves in, it's almost as if it's like you're booby trapping yourself. You're booby trapping yourself. You are voluntarily entering quicksand, or just allowing someone to get on your back, like you're carrying this weight on your back. And this is going to just be more of just a flow of consciousness, although I do have a small list. But we have to try to close the loop. This thing is a loop, and it's the reason of this loop and why it's open is because, obviously I'm not a psychologist, but obviously on my research, I've kind of found myself in this dynamic. So I've kind of like inadvertently become kind of a professional, or a kind of like a well-versed person on this topic. So I've been in this dynamic a lot, in this situation, every kind of situation you could think about. So I used to think a long time ago, like, it's me, man. Like, there must be something wrong with me. Like, there's something that I'm doing that attracts these MFs, these reptiles. And yeah, subconsciously, there are parts of all of us, this loop that we have to learn to close that loop. And I've said it in the other videos, just obviously not giving away supply and learning to look within, not looking outside. So what that means is, you know that something is happening. You don't need the other person to confirm it to you. You know that this person is giving you bad vibes, or death stares, or staring at you, or getting in your way, or following you, or wanting to get your attention, wanting to get into arguments, want you to explain. I've had bosses like that. They want you to explain yourself. Yeah. The thing about this loop is, this caregiver, like our parent in childhood, that put that emotion or that vibration inside of us, like that kind of where you're having to explain, or that you're not worthy, or you have to do something to get their approval or something. You know, that thing that needs to be closed. So part of the healing process for us would be, I want to speak about us a lot because I'm speaking a lot about these fools. We need to kind of recognize what our attachment style is like, and why, not even why, but we can just realize that once you kind of know your attachment style, you can slowly start recognizing your part in these bloody dynamics, and just like not allowing it, like, because even like this thing can happen for the rest of our lives. Once you start becoming aware of your part, you can start being like, oh, I'm doing it. Even like now, like you could be in the, like, let me give an example. Like you in the gym, and you see like someone who's quite attractive, excuse me, and you meet them like 2 or 3 times. You're not too obviously over, but you meet them like 2 or 3 times. You're getting on like really well. So you get their details, and you think, oh, we might work out together. And then the person just like, they just go the other way. And you're like, raw. But in my mind, sometimes we automatically think, oh, it's because of X, Y, Z. But it could also be the fact that they might not be mentally stable. They might have these chaotic minds, right? Like if they see you the next time, they just like don't even say hello to you. But at the same time, we could be giving off that vibe, that energy of like needing them to make us feel accepted or something. I think we need to get to that stage where it's like we're not attached to a lot of outcomes. We're not attached to the outcomes. So I think we have to improve on that. We're not attached too much whether something is gonna work or not work. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, that's fine. Like, we have to go within ourselves. A lot of this stuff is because of your empathy. It's all counterintuitive because our trauma response for a lot of us is to fawn. It's kind of this people pleasing thing where it's like our parents, like I see it in Johnny Depp, like when he was with that Amber Heard, and I should really make a video on my whole take on that. But it's like his mum was an alcoholic and she was probably a bit of a narc. So he was probably like chasing her, like, you know, like almost working for her, helping her, hoping that she see the best in him, sort of thing. And he's just kind of repeated that pattern in that relationship. But also, I think he probably did have a good relationship with Vanessa Paradis. And I had that as well with someone where the relationship was pretty good. And when we're in a spot with someone that's pretty good and it's comfortable and we're getting what all our needs met, that wound might see something that reminds us of that past scenario. So it feels comfortable. So we end up being thinking we're attracted to that. Like if they do this like intermittent reinforcement, or if they do the kind of hot cold, like that's probably what our parents was like something where the situation was not in our control. Like they were either coming back from work and they were in a bad mood, or they would just ignore you, or they would be angry too much over something quite small, or they like conditional. You see what I'm saying? So that kind of like, we see someone and they might come across like charismatic and like cheerful, happy, confident. But also because we're kind of like not available either, it's like we think, oh, that reminds us of like that past from our childhood. So we feel drawn to it, but it's very unhealthy. I think for us, when we get into scenarios, relationships with people where it feels like boring, that's like this is like a real slow burn. We're getting to know each other, we're expanding with each other, and we're connecting on a deeper level. But this kind of like someone looks good looking, attractive in the outer, the meat suit, and they come across competent when that's usually just a facade. And actually this is like immature, insecure entity who's like operating from the ego. We get drawn to that because it reminds us of that familiarity we had of our parent and that old wound. But we have to like go back and we have to like heal that wound, because all that's going to keep happening is that we'll keep repeating these dynamics. Even if you meet someone and it goes very good and then they cut you off, like ghost you, just cut them, like it's done. Like one sign of weird vibe, like look or ignore. Just don't go into that trauma response of fawning, explaining, because that's like your automatic pattern. The healing process, even though it's not linear, we have to try and catch ourselves from falling into these patterns. Like I said, it's an open loop. We want to close the loop. So we have to like, say this is like a keychain and there's a piece missing. We got to just go and get plasticine and fill that piece in. So it's like when you're wanting someone to validate your experience, you just validate yourself. When you're wanting to be independent, you can do it in healthy ways where you're communicating your idea to someone else and to yourself. So that level of is it like self-care, self-worth, and all these things are dealt with on our side. So we're not chasing that in other people, relationships. But the main thing here is to stop these patterns and to reduce your pool, this kind of codependent behaviors and codependent situations. And I've been living alone for a few years now, and before that, when I was discarded, because of the smear campaigns, I was kind of isolated in a very, very big way, and that kind of helps as well. Like being kicked out of your social group helps, because you kind of realize that you're self-sufficient and independent, which is weird because a lot of these people, that's one of the reasons why they're kind of jealous of you. So they kind of see that thing they like about you, and then they want to destroy it. They like the fact that you're independent, you got your own career, you got your own hobbies, you got your own living situation, you got your own like skills, your own style, you know, like everything about you. They love it. And then they get close, and then some of them start copying you, start stealing your characteristics, and they try and destroy it. It's very, very, this thing is a very, very weird phenomenon. Like, we have to really start educating people about it, sharing these kind of videos, letting people find out more about it. Even like gaslighting. Like, I know if you're watching this video, if you relate to what I'm talking about, you're not someone that gaslights, but gaslighting is just like, seriously, I'd rather like someone like sucker punched me and broke my nose than someone gaslights me for a period of time. Gaslighting, it's like, say you lose the ability to be like, this is my right hand, and it's your right hand. You don't even know this is your right hand anymore. That's what gaslighting does to your brain. It messes you up. Cognitive dissonance, things like the brain fog that happens after this stuff, it takes a long time to clear. It's very, very, people that do gaslighting, manipulation and backstabbing and like smear campaigns, writing people email talking about you. Oh, what, I'm trying to help him, but you need to know this about it. These people are sick and they need to be stamped out. Seriously, they need to be exposed. Gaslighting is one of the, like, they need to have their own island where they go. You need like a special passport or ID, and they all gaslight each other and manipulate each other and let them just stay there away from like the normals and the empaths, because these people are really they're very, very sick people. The sooner you can spot them for who they are and get away from them, the better it will be for you. Trust me, they're not going to change. Just keep healing. Keep healing. It's possible. You will get back to your normal self. It does take a lot of time. But one of the hardest things is the rumination and the brain fog. Like, you find that who you were before, you want to get back there. Like, just that get up and go vibe. Not this kind of like, you have to keep double, triple guessing yourself. That's what these people do. But yeah, close the loop. Go back and think about what attachment style you had with your parent, which your main caregiver, your mum or dad, or even both, and slowly start putting the steps in to heal, to close that loop, like to give it to yourself, basically. It's possible, and you'll get there. All the best.